Tonight, we take pleasure in bringing you Suspense, a weekly anthology of notable melodramas from stage and screen, fiction and radio, presented each week to bring you to the edge of your chair, to keep you in suspense.
October 14th, 8:47 a.m. It was shaping up to be a pretty typical day at the 18th precinct, or at least it was until I actually got there. Romano, sorry I'm late. I did drop the Crusinger case file off at the DA's office.
Well, we somehow managed to keep the place running without you.
Well, it just shows you that I trained you right. And what's on the docket for today?
New case, missing person. Reported anonymously last night. Found a file on him.
File? Christ's sakes, looks like War and Peace.
Oh, it gets better.
Alvaro de la Cuevas, born Barcelona, April 23rd, 1917. For Pete's sakes, will you look at the rap sheet on this joker? Larceny, extortion, assault and battery, bank fraud, narcotics trafficking.
Yeah, he'd be a great one for me to take home to Mother.
I met your mother. She'd have his guts for garters.
That she would.
Not hard to see why someone would want to make this one disappear. Hardest part's going to be narrowing the list of potential suspects down.
So, are we working under the assumption that he's missing and not just missing?
Oh, yeah. Dollars to donuts, this case ends up with the dredging of the Schuylkill.
I'm not taking that bet.
Like I said, I trained you right. Now, do we have a current address for La Cuevas?
Nope. But we do have an address for one Harry Zakarian. He's listed as De La Cuevas' business partner in Transatlantic Imports.
An import firm. Original. Might as well put a neon sign out front. Illegal goods sold here.
Probably not zoned for neon.
Is there even an address on record for Transatlantic Imports?
Of course not.
Then Zakarian it is. Where does he live?
325 Domino Lane, Roxborough. Near the Tower Farm.
Okay, well, let's have a look at Mr. Zakarian's file and then take a trip uptown to Roxborough. Well, it didn't take long to find out that Zakarian's rap sheet was long enough to give De La Cuevas a run for his money. But scumbag or not, he was a good place to start as any, so we headed uptown to Roxborough to start off our investigation. You weren't kidding about it being close to the Tower Farm.
Picking up KYW on your fillings?
If you hear 16 tons coming out of my ears, you'll know. This is it. 325 Domino Lane.
Cozy.
Yeah.
You Harry Zakarian?
Who's asking?
Police! Sergeant Morrissey. This is Detective Romano.
Let's see some ID. Hold it up to the peephole. Okay. What do you want?
We're investigating a missing persons report. Just want to ask you a few questions is all.
Sorry. Can't be too careful in this neighborhood.
Yeah, some criminal lowlife could walk through that door at any time.
Romano. The missing man is your business partner, Alvaro de la Cuevas. You don't seem surprised.
De las Cuevas is not a nice person.
Look who's talking.
What's that supposed to mean?
I can read a rap sheet.
Romano.
Hey, I'm nothing like De las Cuevas.
Meaning what? Romano, what's the address for the Transatlantic Imports again? We must have one on them, because it would be a violation of their commercial business license if they didn't have a physical address.
Can't seem to find it here.
Oh, that's too bad. Now the Department of Licenses and Inspections will have to investigate. You know how those guys are.
Yeah, nothing if not thorough.
Wait a second. You do have a commercial business license, don't you?
Meaning he deals in stuff that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Dope.
People.
Sex trafficking?
Worse.
Worse than forced prostitution? Listen, and listen good. You got one chance to start talking. Otherwise, there are going to be a lot of questions asked about transatlantic and about your personal involvement in whatever dirty dealings De La Cuevas and you have been up to. Do you get my drift?
Yeah. Roll or be rolled over. De Las Cuevas is running a child adoption racket, selling little kids to whoever's got the greenbacks. And he's not fussy about where he gets the kids, if you know what I mean.
Are you telling us he's stealing children from their families?
From wherever he can get what he needs. Like I said, De Las Cuevas is not a nice person.
They need names, clients.
Can't help you.
Zakarian.
Look, I didn't want to know anything about that garbage. You may find this hard to believe, but even a 4-time loser has some morals.
You're right. I do find it hard to believe.
Can you give us anything?
He mentioned something about meeting some broad last night to make a delivery. A real swell high society type. The name of Barbara, I think. Yeah, Babs Barber.
Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Zakarian. Let's go, Romano. If you're involved in this adoption racket, I will find out. Count on it. A couple of phone calls later, we head up to Fox Chase in northeast Philly to talk to a certain socialite.
Would you look at that view?
That's Burholm Park down there. We're on one of the highest overlooks in Greater Philly.
Barber residence.
Yes, Mrs. Barbara in.
Mrs. Barber is indisposed.
It'll just take a few minutes of her time. Police business.
Very well, sir. Wait here.
I've gotten warmer receptions at the morgue.
Yeah,
I still think Zakarian knows more than he's letting on.
maybe.
If Mrs. Barber turns out to be a dead end, we should bring him in.
We'll see.
What do you want? I'm very busy.
Mrs. Barber, I'm Sergeant Moore.
I know all that. My butler informed me.
Okay. Well, we need to ask you a few questions.
Ask them and be done with it. I'm entertaining guests, and you are wasting my time.
Do you know Alvaro de las Cuevas? Well?
Vulgar little man.
So, that would be a yes, then.
That vulgar little man went missing 2 days ago.
So,
Well, we were wondering if you might know something about that.
why in the world should I?
Because you and De La Cuevas had a business transaction to complete last night. Only he never showed up. Did he,
Or maybe he did.
Romano?
Yeah, he did show up. And when he did, Mrs. Barber had him whacked, so he couldn't implicate her in their dirty little deal.
What? How dare you?
Romano!
She's in it up to her eyeballs.
I've had quite enough of this. I'm calling my attorney.
Good. Have meet us at the 18th precinct in about 45 minutes.
Better make it an hour. Rush hour traffic.
You don't mean you expect me to go down to the police station with you, like some common criminal?
Why not? You are a common criminal.
Adoption fraud is a felony, Miss Barber.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, don't play dumb with us. We know what you and De Las Cuevas were up to.
I had no idea he wasn't a licensed adoption agent.
Yeah, he's not listed in the phone book, which means you went to a lot of trouble to find him.
Well, a friend recommended his services.
Oh, so you have a friend who bought a stolen child? We'll be wanting your friend's name and address, Mrs. Barber.
You're wasting your time, Romano. We're just gonna have to cuff her and take her downtown. I can only imagine what her guests will say. Bound to end up in the society column. Unless, of course, Miss Barber is smart enough to answer a few questions for us. After that, she's free to go back to her guests.
All right. Ask and be done with it.
You were to meet De La Cuevas last night. Where?
He didn't say. He telephoned around 7 o'clock and said he'd let me know where to meet him at 9.
Any idea where he telephoned from?
No. Though I did hear one of those annoying amusement park contraptions in the background.
A merry-go-round?
Yes. That awful music just playing over and over and over.
What about the child that he was planning to sell you? Boy? Girl?
A girl.
I'm assuming that he showed you a picture. Describe her.
Beautiful little Spanish girl. About 4. Named Lupe Marie, I think. Ugh, of course I would have to rename her.
Oh, of course.
But that hair, that complexion, those high cheekbones. She would have made a perfect accessory.
Excuse me?
An accessory. Like a handbag or a bracelet.
What a vulgar comment.
You can say that again.
I merely meant that the child would have been a lovely addition to the household during social gatherings, and particularly around the holidays. At least so long as she didn't act too much like a child.
Mrs. Barber, thank you. You have been most helpful.
Sergeant, don't make the mistake of thinking this is over. My husband has a lot of pull at City Hall. I'll have your badge for this.
Well, on days like this, you'd be welcome to it. Come on, Romano. With that, we headed back to the 18th precinct and started making some calls. But I think Harry Zakarian might have been working the phones ahead of us. Was it my little warning to him? Not sure. But whatever the cause, the effect was to have a visitor show up at our door right before Ramon and I knocked off for the day.
Sergeant Morrison?
Yes. How can I help you?
My name? Luisa González. I clean de las cuevas.
Please, sit down.
My English? Not good.
Español?
Sí,
Habla en español.
gracias.
You speak Spanish?
Some, but I speak fluent Italian and the languages share some similarities. I should be able to follow her. Habla, Señora González.
Yo maté a Armand de las Cuevas. Trató de llevarse a mi niña y le maté.
What did she say?
She said she worked for De La Cuevas, and she's very concerned about him.
Are you sure? We can get a translator if she has a statement to give.
No, I'm fine. Wait, where did you serve in the war? Not Italy, right?
No, I was in the Pacific.
Okay, good. Go on.
Yo trabajaba para el señor de las Cuevas como señorita de la limpieza. Él era amable conmigo, pero sobre todo con mi pequeña. Nos llevaba a las películas, al parque, a patinar. Ayer por la noche nos llevó a Woodside Amusement Park. Fui al baño y cuando volví, se habían ido. Empecé a buscarles por todos los lados y les vi yendo al Cutthroat Cove Ride. Les seguí y pillé de las cuevas intentando sacar a mi hija por la puerta de atrás. Les intenté parar. Me pegó. Me tiró al suelo. Se dio la vuelta y le pegué en la cabeza con una roca grande. No quería matarle. Estaba tan asustada.
Que está bien. Puede dejar.
¿Qué?
Inmediatamente.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
What the heck just happened?
Oh, well, she didn't have any information that we didn't already know. She told me that De La Cuevas was supposed to meet some woman at the amusement park last night, and when she didn't see him all day today, she got worried and came down here.
And that's all?
Yes, like I said, nothing we didn't already know.
Okay. Wait, did you get an address for De La Cuevas from her? I mean, if she's his cleaning lady, she must know that.
No, I didn't think to ask. Sorry.
It's okay, it's been a long day. We'll try Zagarin again tomorrow, see if we can get a little more from him one way or the other. Yeah, that's enough for today. You want to grab a bite?
Sorry, no. I've got plans. Take a rain check?
Sure thing. Good night.
Good night.
A hunch isn't admissible in court. It's not even something you can probably explain to another person. But sometimes, it's all a detective has to go on. And so it was that I found myself up in Fairmount Park later that evening, following a hunch that led to the decaying facade of the Woodside Amusement Park. But I wasn't the only detective who seemed to be playing a hunch. Evening, Romano.
Morrissey! What are you doing here?
Oh, just catching the night air and a few turns on the Ferris wheel. Helps me relax after a long day on the job.
Oh, yes, me too.
Funny you should come all the way up here, though. Isn't your place a lot closer to Willow Grove?
Well, it is, but this holds, a sentimental attachment. My parents used to take me here all the time when I was a kid.
Did they ever take you on the Cutthroat Cove ride?
No, they said I was too young. What makes you ask that?
Well, 'cause you were just in there for almost 90 minutes, and you came out on foot, not in your boat.
You've been following me?
Not exactly, but when I saw you arriving here at the same time I did, following you seemed to be the prudent next step. Cat got your tongue?
I didn't think you spoke Spanish.
I don't, but I served on Guam and the Marianas long enough to learn the Spanish word for killed. And anyway, Woodside Amusement Park didn't require much translation. So, why don't you just tell me what exactly she said?
Okay. Miss Gonzalez was De La Cuevas' cleaning woman, yes. But he also showed a personal interest in her, and especially in her little girl.
Let me guess. Her name is Lupe Marie.
Yeah. She said that De La Cuevas was very good to them. Oh, he would take them to the movies, roller skating, pony rides, whatever struck the fancy of a 4-year-old girl.
To gain their confidence.
Yes. They were here the night before De La Cuevas was reported missing. Miss Gonzalez needed to use the restroom, and she left Lupe Marie with De La Cuevas. When she came out, she saw the two of them getting on the Cutthroat Cove ride.
Which the little girl was far too young for. Probably figured it was a nice, out-of-the-way place to separate mother and daughter. He could take the kid out the service exit you used, cook up some cock and bull story about how she ran off, then hand her over to Babs' barber.
Yeah, that was my guess, too. Only Miss Gonzalez caught him in the act. There was a struggle. In desperation, she caved the back of De La Cuevas' skull in with a rock. Horrified, she left the body there and ran off with her daughter.
And she was afraid to tell the police what happened for fear she wouldn't be believed. Understandable. Still, it wouldn't have taken 90 minutes for you to confirm her story.
It didn't.
Well?
Well, I had to think long and hard about it. Is De La Cuevas' death worth ruining the lives of two innocents?
That's not what we get paid to decide, Irene.
I know. But if my conscience is the price to be paid for making sure a little girl doesn't have to grow up without a mother, I'm willing to pay it.
It could be a lot pricier than that. An obstruction of justice charge could cost you your badge, if not more. So what did you do?
Have you ever been on the Cutthroat Cove ride?
Years ago. It's kind of got a haunted pirate ship theme, right?
Yeah, There are mannequins placed all through the length of it, made up to look like they came straight from Davy Jones' locker. Rotting, bloody, worm-eaten corpses. Well, at first I thought about trying to dispose of De La Cuevas' body. Maybe weigh it down and dump him in the channel. But the water's only chest deep. Trying to slip the body out in this crowd was out of the question.
So is he still there?
Kind of. Come on, I'll show you. Two, please. Thank you.
How far in did you hide him?
I didn't hide him at all.
Didn't hide him? You mean...
Up ahead. Third from the right.
And the tricorn hat? And the beard?
Yeah.
Good God, hidden in plain sight.
The park is closing permanently next week. It's being demolished in the spring. By the time anyone finds De La Cuevas, if they find him at all, there will be no way of tying Miss Gonzalez to his death. She and Lupe Marie will be safe. So, what are you gonna do?
By hiding De La Cuevas' corpse, you become Mrs. Gonzalez's accessory. The perfect accessory. And I guess I'm gonna be yours. Let's get out of here.
So ends The Perfect Accessory by John C. Alzadek and Dana Perry Hayes. Tonight's story of Suspense. Suspense is produced by Blue Hours Productions. Tonight's radio drama was written especially for Suspense by John C. Alzadek and Dana Perry Hayes and recorded at Melrose Music in Hollywood, California. Kin Shriner was Sergeant Jake Morrissey. Susan Eisenberg was Detective Irene Romano. David Collins was Harry Zakarian. Adrian Wilkinson was Babs Barber. Athusina Duran was Luisa Gonzalez. And Steve Moulton was the butler. I'm Damon Krall. Next week at this time, tune in again for another study in suspense.